All right, my trading peeps, let's talk about altcoins. Okay, so it's hard to talk about altcoins right now, to be honest. There is not really. There's maybe a handful of altcoins I'm interested in, and just barely. Obviously altcoins have taken a brutal beating with anything that Bitcoin does, altcoins tend to exaggerate, like just 3, 4x whatever Bitcoin does, or more, depending on the volatility, market cap, etc., etc. Anywho, we are starting off with the Bitcoin dominance chart in my Bitcoin analysis video, which was just put out before this one. I also reference this chart because we were talking about Bitcoin and the relative strength that it will lose in comparison to altcoins based upon this chart. If this bearish descending wedge plays out, as I think it will, then relative to Bitcoin, altcoins may actually be stronger. They may not be stronger either. They may be just as strong, and we just, move sideways here on the dominance chart. That would indicate that altcoins are no longer exaggerating the move down that Bitcoin may continue to have, but simply mirroring it. All right. And so that's where this would go sideways. If the dominance goes down, it would indicate that Bitcoin price is dropping faster than altcoins. All right, so we have to keep our eyes on this chart at all times. It helps us to understand what the current bias in the market might be. All right, then we're going to jump from the Bitcoin dominance chart to our total, might as well total two. All right. So total two shows here, we had this bullish triangle at the time, but it was not really much of a move up. We did pop outside of it and did move up for a couple of weeks. This is the daily chart. And then, price just fell off. We fell through the 50-day, we fell through the 100-day, and now we're below the 200-day simple moving average as well. And one thing I want to do on this chart to help us understand where we might go is move this fib retracement chart over here to our price. And where I started this was at the bottom, the start of our move up in both Bitcoin and altcoin space. All right, and then to the top, and you can see we have different retracement levels here. We've already tagged the 50% retracement. All right, a lot of times what we like to do is we like to come down to that 0.618 retracement level. So that means that we still have some room, actually plenty of room to move down in price on the altcoin markets. And that's really what the altcoin charts are showing me as well. So you have to be very careful here if you are going long. Fortunately, I was able to pick out a trade 2 days ago, which was up as much as 17-18% today from my entry 2 days ago. But the selection of altcoins is very poor at this time. So you must trade, very carefully and know what you're doing in this market. And even I sometimes feel like I have no clue what I'm doing. It's just the way the market will make you feel. I'm switching over to the total three chart now, which is everything excluding Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we kind of have the same scenario. Right now, we're on the 50% retracement level. Could drop down to the 0.618. And because this is everything excluding Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's quite possible we drop all the way down to 0.786, which would be just devastating for a lot of us that have gone long. But you know what? Gear up and hang on to your hats. It's always a wild ride here in the crypto space. Okay, so I'm going to talk with the remainder of this video, a few that I do see surprisingly strong in this list or of category is meme coins. All right, so just take a look at Bonk, for instance, today up 7% right now. Dog with Hat up 13% right now. And actually, if I'm taking a look at this just on the fly here, I see a double bottom pattern on Dog with Hat. So this may be something, if you're interested in altcoins, something to dabble with. All right, that's up to you and your own strategy, risk tolerance, etc., etc. But that really looks like it could be a double bottom pattern. Careful though. Let's draw our level out real quick, because if this level breaks, you could come all the way down to 36 cents on dog with hat. But I won't go through all of the meme coins. These are just two on the list that are relatively strong compared to all altcoins. I have had my eye on Zeta as well, but this has just continued to tank. We did real well on Zeta. Remember, we called this double bottom pattern previously as well, right here, and made bank on that all the way up to our resistance level where we got out, and those were some good trades. Well, that's why I like to spot these patterns here, these double bottom patterns. And we're seeing a similar situation on dog with hat. If I had some cash on hand, I might play with that one. All right. So bonk, dog with hat. And then I'm going to jump down to one that the market has adopted for sure, for sure, for sure. And that is Ton coin. This coin has been strong, really has not experienced any weakness until the last 2 days, where what I call this is it jumped the river. All right. So see the creek here. We've got two trend lines that are acting as support. It just crashed down below both of them, came all the way down to a 100-day moving average, and then has now settled just above the 50, retesting the bottom of that last ascending trend line. So right now it's showing weakness, and just because it's the strongest coin, that's not an entry I would look to get in right here. But again, up to you. I'm really hesitant and very selective with my entries in the altcoin space. It has to be especially not attractive, because that's not the right word at this time. We have to be looking for strong support. We have to be looking for lots of room to be able to pop above us. And generally during these down markets, we're going to look for a quick turnaround. All right. We're going to set our stops fairly tight so we don't get, these large liquidation wicks, which stop us out and then go right back up and leave us hanging. We're not going to chase. We're just going to wait for the right trades to come to us. And right now, they are few and far between. Ton is a strong coin, but again, I would look for it to pop back up above at least one of these levels, maybe both of those, before I started to look for an entry. Jasmine tends to do, it's kind of funny. A lot of times it'll do the opposite of what the market is doing. But right now, it looks like we found a good area of support. All this right here, that's very good accumulation space. So you've got a lot of support here lining up with the VRVP. All right. So right now we are on a point of control. I know the point of control is shown down here. That's just because we're zoomed out. If I were to zoom in here and erase that part, your line should pop up right here. And yes, we're right on that right now. So Jasmine looks to be a good, decent coin if you're looking to enter altcoins at this point. Like I said, they're few and far between. I liked Uniswap for whatever reason as well. However, careful, because we could drop back down to this point of control area here at 630. So you may want to wait on that just to see what Uniswap decides to do. I'm looking to see if I can find anything. It looks like we had a triple top of sorts already play out. We came down, but we could come back down and settle on that 630. So I kind of would be cautious entering just yet. Wait for another down day/week before I got into that one. And then we have Bico. I've always been a big fan of Bico. It has really dropped in price, but again, we've got some good support underneath us. Not only do we have this VRVP showing us where our point of control is, but you can see if I were to draw a square showing all of the traffic and accumulation area, this is all good support area here. All right. So those are really the coins that I don't really want to go. Maybe let's just take a look at doggy coin. Yeah, well, it's found support too, that you could draw. You could actually draw a line of support right there, and we're just above that. This is all support in this area, but again, caution, because yeah, it could drop to that 7.8 cents level even further. And that all depends on what Bitcoin and Ethereum decide to do. Again, as I mentioned in the last video, we'll just jump here to Bitcoin real quick. There is a estimated moving average, 20-week estimated moving average gives us a price of 61,365. I think I said it's not shown on this particular chart here. But Sunday is the close of our week, and we want to see that price back above there to have any semblance of bullish bias. Otherwise, we are bearish. I'm bearish all the way down to 48,415 at least. And if that breaks, look out below. All right, this is all pending more Mt. Gox news. This is what the sell-off is all about. People are trying to price in an accurate depiction of where the price should be once the funds are distributed. And the market is always trying to be a little bit ahead of the game. So in this case, it would be a buy the news event. As soon as distribution has started and begins to unfold, I think traders are going to start to step back in. It's going to be a buy the news event. All right. Instead, opposite of sell the news, where you have something happen, people have already priced that in. It's got, positive news, people have priced that in. In this case, it's negative news. People are pricing in the negative news, and then you'll have a buy the news event. But you can see a good amount of room here between where we are right now and where we could go, which means that altcoins will suffer at least that much and maybe more. According to our Bitcoin dominance chart, it's looking like it'll be more of a mirror scenario. Altcoins won't exaggerate it as much. But anyways, guys, those are my picks here for the altcoin space. It's those two meme coins, Dog with Hat, Bonk, and then I have those top alts right now: Toncoin, Jasmy, Uniswap, Bico, and Doggy Coin. In addition to the trades that I have already given to my subscribers on the website, which will show up in just a second here. You can follow me there and catch all of my trades. Hopefully this gives you some idea of what's happening in the altcoin space. Really no positive news here. There's a handful of altcoins, and you really have to be cautious in your entries here. My personal recommendation, is to just wait it out a little bit, see what happens. But if you're adverse to risk and want to play around with some of those meme coins, best selection here is honestly Dog with Hat. All right, peace, y'all. Talk to you in the next.